Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Guile here, and welcome back to the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series. It's custom 2v2 pro level magic this afternoon. Exciting stuff as always. Before we get to that though, quick message coming in from Jip. He's the game counselor at FAF. He would like to request that everybody who's thinking of setting up a custom game on FAF in the near future do so using the FAF development game type. That is the game type at the bottom of that list of type of games when you select your game type. I don't know what the distinction is between that and FAF beta, but apparently there's an important one, and if you could use that, and any bugs, glitches or whatever you come across, please report them to the game testing section on Discord. And if you're not on Discord, A, why not? Where have you been? All the cool kids are there. And B, you can get to it in the description below this video with the link, which I have very cunningly placed there, and if I cunningly forgotten to place it there, you know what to do. Abuse me in the comment section until I place it in there. This is my flawless system that I've had working for some time. It never fails because there's always someone ready to abuse me. Alright, on to today's game. As we said, it's a 2v2. It's a game exhumed from history. I mean, it's not that old. It's from like July, but still some very clever FAF archaeologist with a penchant for old FAF games has sent me this in. See, you don't have to play amazing games, guys. If you're not a player, you can assist by, you know, checking out cool things, cool videos, cool replays rather, and sending them my way. I've got nothing to pay you with beyond my respect and admiration, but that's like money in the bank, right? Sure it is. But yes, thank you to whoever sent this in. I really appreciate it. Alright, that's enough of that. It's going down on Mavys Marsh. I'm ready. You guys are ready. And the players are sure as hell ready. So let's go on over to the game zone and see how they're going to get on. Ching. Ka-ching. Alright, we know what we're dealing with here. It's top team 1 and the bottom team 2 going first for team 1 as we fire it up and allow our players to gate in. Sporting this season's very fashionable, fabulous, vivacious violet. It's none other than Raider. Going Cybrin, it's his decision. And below him, his teammate for today. Could it be? Could it be? Erica Pawns, do we have a girl today? I can't believe it. They actually exist. I owe my cousin a tenner. There she is, potentially. He, she, they, who knows? We'll assume it's a she. And she's going UEF in baby blue, opening first land. Sensible decision for the front row, certainly. And let's check out team 2 now here, down here at the bottom. It's a Gingerbread Man, if there is such a thing as a rearguard air position, going Aeon, how very sensible, going Burgundy Red, opening first land, and his teammate directly above him, it's Kavat. And Kavat's chosen Seraphim in Lurid Green, opening first land. So it is all races being represented. We've got an alien sympathizers down in the bottom right, and earthlings, and well, misguided evil cyborgs up here at the top left, who are kind of earthy people, I guess, as well. Technically, that's where we're going. Let's check out the map before things get too fruity. A lot of reclaim to be had generally around the map in all of the usual areas, around cliff edges, around bodies of water, whatnot, on beaches. Mostly it seems to be between the 45, 38, 10 range, a couple of 20s kicking around here. We do have, I did spot one wreck down here, a mere 113, but that's not exactly going to change things in a great way, shape or form. But still, lots of mass to be had. Plenty of reclaim to get on scooping. The two main avenues of attack, obviously, up around here and down through there, with a little adjoining causeway there across these two ponds in the center. And locations of note, you've got a couple of mass points kicking around, dotted about, and of course a few hydros as well. Two hydros each on each starting corner, and then one on the other corners, and another one to the left and right of mid. What have we got here, though? The first few offensive units are out, and the lab play seems to be coming from Gingerbread Man as we enable minimap. Don't want to miss anything. It looks like he produced a couple of flares. He gave this one a spirit for a little bit of clarity of vision, but not sending it bowling straight in there, or at least not for the time being. split the other one off over here, potentially to guard, I guess, maybe this mechs or this patch of reclaim. No, he was just getting right to the edge and then pushing it up over here, trying to get in around the back. And there are potentially a few engineers kicking around there that could fall foul of some lab play. Bomber, meanwhile, for Raider and Scout flying in a southeasterly motion on towards their enemy bases. Game quality, incidentally, we've got to say, it's 94%, so we're pretty happy with that game balance. Top rated player Raider at 1900, bottom rated player Erica at 1600, and both teams averaging out around the 1750 mark. So that is why we have such high game balance. Should be a good one. Nice pick up there for the Bomber. Kills an engineer, but he's been locked onto by defending interceptors, and he's not going to get another chance to open his bomb doors. No. Down and out. What happened to the lab play? There's a wreck tank on the floor. In fact, there's a few wrecks down here. So there are some wrecks kicking around. These are not wrecks from today's players. No, they are map-based wrecks. You can see offering a little bit of extra mass to be had there. Interceptor tangling with a scout plane over there, belonging to Raider. That gets shot down. And ACUs on the move now for both teams. Erica pushing down towards Kavat, who's also moving up in a northern fashion. Gingerbread Man also heading northwesterly, south of the two ponds, of course, making his way up to this sort of area. Where is Raider? So this is interesting. It looks like Raider and Erica potentially moving in the direction of Kavat. So Kavat could be going 2v1, and we could have an open door situation for Gingerbread Man assaulting Erica's base. I'm sure one of these two ACUs will drop back if that ends up being the case. But a lot could change. It's all early doors. Plenty of wrecks kicking about, actually. In come a couple of thams from Kavat just as Erica gets on a scooping session. A couple of shots from the ACU should deal with at least one of those. Kavat skirting out of range though with the other two, and a couple of engineers vulnerable over here. But he's not hanging about to kill them all off. He'll be well aware of the ACU danger behind him. Now this is a conundrum. There's more units coming in. What does Erica do with that ACU? Looks like stopping and having a cup of tea is what she's decided to do. Who's had the better run of reclaims so far? Both teams at 17k. Probably very close to each other. Team 1 just ticking up to 18k first, so ever so slightly ahead. Is that a reclaim-based advantage? Oh, Team 2's actually up on reclaim. 4.6 versus 4.1, so generated eco. Oh, Team 2 up there as well. So Team 2 in the ascendancy on eco at the very least. Expect them to take a short or small lead shortly, I should say. Erica's strikers bump into a small group of Auroras down here. The strikers outnumbered, but of course have the hit point advantage. Lose out on range though. So if you're new to this game and you're playing Aeon, utilize the tinfoil Auroras, those basic T1 tanks, by trying to keep as much range as you can. Keep them out of return fire range, because they do have a ranged advantage over the other basic T1 units. Armies merging up in the top right hand corner. Raider and Kavat going at it. T1 bomber overhead as well, but taking some ground fire there, so we've got some nice unit mix from Kavat. Remembering to throw in some T1 mobile anti-air. That's a nice bombing run. Takes care of a Medusa. Kavat over the top with one of his T1 bombers. And is that an unfortunate place to land a chariot full of engineers? Well, it's not actually just engineers. It looked like it was for a moment. It's 2 engineers and an Aurora and a Fervor, but the transport gets obliterated by Raider, who turns up with about 6 interceptors. We've got a gun upgrade now on the way for Gingerbread Man. Is that our first upgrade? No, we've got a T2 upgrade already complete for his teammate Kavat. Just checking if there's been any others, but it doesn't look like it. So we've got a ACU upgrade advantage, it would seem, with Team 2. But Team 2 now slipping behind slightly in total mass accrued, 37 to 35k. Very small advantage, barely noticeable. And Raider managing just in time to save that little engineer, Bernard, in the top right-hand corner, who was on his reclaim mission. Cavalry managed to ride into the rescue. Raider over here with his comm now, handling the situation personally, blapping aside as many THAMs as he can manage. Still get a lot of questions from people who are new to the game, who question why on earth, if the object is to kill the ACU, why are people putting their ACUs into harm's way? Well, it just quite simply that they are early doors the most powerful weapon on the field, and if you don't use yours offensively and your opponent does, then essentially you're gonna lose the game. That's all there is to it. You can see the Cybran commander at 10,000 hit points, and he is the most lightly armored of all of the commanders, and compare that to a T1 unit of 280 hit points. And then of course you've got the huge quantities of damage, the utility of its build capabilities. It's a very, very useful tool, so you have to get busy with it in the early game, otherwise you will lose territory, lose units, and lose the game most likely. Kavat, with his T2 engineering suite, has thrown down a point defense and a radar. Erica Pawns completing, or on the way to completing, a T2 upgrade, 60% done there. And going to end up with some base wars kicking off potentially over here between Kavat and Erica. Gingerbread Man not surging forward. Despite the fact he's got double sniper comm now, he's got both the gun upgrades on board that commander. He's not just charging in. And I wonder if that's a bit of a mistake, potentially. We know both of the comms are up here. You could do immense damage with that commander and certainly force Erica to bring that ACU back over here to defend. Yes, there is a lot of T2 on the floor now, though, so the commander does have to be careful. Erica putting out 75 mass per tick, about 70. Raider at a whopping 3 figures briefly, and then back over it once again. But I think that's reclaim related. I think he's sitting at about 96 generated eco. Gingerbread Man on about 87. Kavat on about 71. And a new upgrade for Kavat on the way. This will be a gun upgrade, speed and range. Gingerbread Man separating now from his forces, doesn't want to do that, wants to keep them nearby, and indeed they are moving back in to cover him. That asylum could prove invaluable if Erica decides to go on the offensive with her T2 spam, and she is moving. quite the point defense creep I thought we were going to get over here. Cavat, of course, went for the gun upgrade after. Raider over here, still working on his first upgrade. And that's a gun upgrade. Catching a couple of units in the southwestern corner. Gingerbread Man tidies up some of Erica's stray tanks. Down goes the mass extractor in the bottom left as well. And Erica has pulled her commander. And this is now two doubly upgraded commanders. We've got a hit point advantage, I think, with Erica. Yeah, by about just shy of 2,000 hit points, but potentially a damage advantage with Gingerbread Man with that double gun. Gingerbread Man yielding a lot of territory there. Drama? What on earth? Answers in the comment section below if you know what that's about. Is that the part of the map? Someone named Drama make this map? Whatever it is, that's pretty cool. Although it's now illegible. How bizarre. Erica moving away from Gingerbread down in the bottom left. And is she going to take the opportunity to inflict some damage over here now? Large group of engineers has thrown down a T1 point defense, but it won't last long against the tooled up ACU with a huge body of T2 spam. The blazes and other assorted floaty stuff coming straight across the pond, not waiting for Gingerbread Man himself. And it looks indeed like he's going to use that upgraded gun and its ranged advantage to batter down that newly constructed point defense. Engineers over here going to throw down a new PD, and this time it's a Tech 2 point defense. That will afford him much better range, allow him to at least shoot back at the inbound comm if he's not completely distracted by the T2 units up here. Engineers get to work on a second turret. That's not going to get completed, and the engineers are going to get barbecued if they sit there much longer. He's going to lose all of those potentially. Oblivion turret still focusing on the T2 spam up here. Could do with a redirect. Take off some of the HP on board that commander. Down goes the Oblivion turret. Erica sitting pretty comfortably on about 13,000 hit points. Gingerbread Man now entering the fray from the southwest. T2 spam with its parashield covering it. Also now dropping back, especially in the face of that overcharge, picking off 2 units for the price of 1. Erica absorbing fire from the blazes and auroras over here, still sitting at about 12,500. What's going on over here though? Cavat going toe-to-toe with Raider, and Cavat is looking pretty peaky right now on about 5,400 hit points, about 30% of his base health remaining. Raider, by contrast, also on 5,300, but he's closer to 50% of his full health, although that's even less now after taking that barrage from the T2 point defense. Ilshiva's sensing blood advance forward, but they're moving into the range of a couple of Cybran point defense up here at the top. Engineers over here working on more Cerberus turrets all the time. Cavat probably doesn't want to overextend here. Raider feeling like it's a good time to push, engages with his comm, and he's got a lot of Mantis over here. Cavat into the red, 500, 400, 300, boom, baby! Down he goes, and there's a little cheetah signature there as well. It must be part of the map. Don't know what that's about, but I'm highly entertained nonetheless. And suddenly, Gingerbread Man fighting this one all by his lonesome. Full share is on in classical 2v2 fashion, so somewhere, of course, some poor fairy has died of terminal ingrowing toenails. I hear they're the worst. In fact, I know they're the worst, suffering from myself. Long time sufferer. Not that you want to know about my gangrenous foot, or feet for that matter. Erica Pawns, though, looking in pretty healthy fashion over here. 2-star commander, 16,800 hit points at full health, and he's just a snifter away from that. We'll be ticking up to completion. There it goes, full health. That's a dangerous looking commander right there. Gingerbread Man assaulting, though, with some bombers over the top. Doesn't last long, gets a single pass. There's a lot of flak under that shield coverage over here, and Gingerbread Man is in a pretty pickle right now. He's got forward momentum from Raider in the north, and he's got nothing in the way of forces to counter this. He's going to lose these factories and these mexes over here, and that means he's probably going to be operating on about 30% of the map, maybe less. He's getting obliterated in the bottom left-hand corner as a large contingent of T2 spam from Erica drifts in that direction. Mongoose open up on the T1 point defense, the last thing that's guarding this corner in the bottom left before taking down those mexes. And there you have it. Gingerbread Man with another position lost. This is the last major stronghold outside of his corner base quadrant, and he does have a T3 land factory in there, and importantly as well, it's not the HQ, so he's got another one elsewhere. And if he loses that, he can still produce harbingers, but he is currently pumping them out from this factory with a lot of engineers to assist. So we're going to have some solid T3 presence down here. We've already got a very solid T3 presence up here. Would you look at that? Some 7 or so harbingers kicking it in the middle, and now going up against this heavily shielded band of T2 that Erica is standing by. Little group that just hit the bottom left corner, looking like they need direction. They were looking like they were going to go in for a run by on this base for a moment, but what with this group of T2 coming in around this peninsula, or plateau, sorry, over here, they're moving back to cover the bottom left corner. Gonna lose a few engineers over here. Don't land your planes there, Erica. That's terrible for your health. Bish bash bosh. Good night, sweetheart. One brick in the wall over here. All the rest T1 and T2 units. There's a second brick showing up. Now, where are we on general eco? So total mass accrued, Team 1 way in the lead, unsurprisingly. 233 versus 193. That's a pretty sizable difference. That's a Monkey Lord, I think, right there. Monkey Lord's worth of mass. Pillars winning the battle over in the bottom left hand corner against the Blazes. Harbingers faring well over here though against the main army. Parashields mostly depleted. Fact is there only one parashield left in this unit mix now. I think there might be. Erica still looking very healthy, and now a 3-star com with some 18,000 hit points to her name. But this is not a good sign. Forces of Raider now at the front of Gingerbread Man's main base. We do have some harbingers over here. Engineers working on point defense, but only T1 point defense. Sniper bots, crucially though, to give them some breathing room. And breathing room they have achieved as Raider drops back with his forces. But would you look at that? Down to 25% of the map. Pretty much. This little forward base, which he's pumping harbingers out of still, looks like it's about to get mowed. Harbingers moving out from the center to try and defend this position. That main force that those harbingers had been battling returns though to the fore, and now we're getting some Percivals showing up, and that's never great for your health when your opponent starts showing up with those. Down goes one of the factories. T3 still operational. Harbingers in the background there being engaged by the T2 spam. This is not looking great if you're rooting for Team 2 right now. Gingerbread Man all on his Todd and in a rapidly diminishing sphere of influence. Now more of a square of influence, it has to be said. Harbingers make their way back to the main base for base defense. Vulnerable targets of interest, potentially these T2 mass extractors, which are outside the front of the base. Quantum reactor going up in a very precarious position, but I guess he wants it to feed the shield, which is going to cover this section that he's got queued up after it. But still, that looks a little bit dangerous, potentially. Lots of T1 P-Gens in a little formation over here. Lost a few of them. He's got a power storage in the middle, so he has access to overcharge, which I think we saw him using just a little bit earlier. If we look at the kill-loss ratios, you can see Gingerbread Man way down, about 0.6. And, yeah, that's bad times. He needs to be upping that immediately if he wants to stay in this and try and turn it around. Is now 690 versus 390 generated mass differential. That's pretty huge. I like some intrepid engineers over here for Gingerbread Man have made their way back to the bottom left hand corner and nabbed those two mexes back. Little T1 NG from Erica. This is Travis sent to conquer the bottom left hand corner. And oh, that's quite the surprise. But look at these army formations now squaring up to Gingerbread Man. 24.5 minutes gone. We are working on a Colossus, but that's a long way away from completion. He's at 24,000 hit points out of 100k. Little round of T1 bombers over the top. That'll be largely ineffectual. None of the bombs penetrating shield coverage there. Going after the Percivals. It's nice in theory, but unfortunately not working out. But look at this. The sniper bots coming to their own here. Depleting the shields and then taking pot shots at the units that had languished underneath. Ouch. Bricks getting picked off by sniper fire over here. So it just seems like Raider and Erica lack the punching power right now to break into this bottom corner base. Support commanders being produced now for Raider. It's going to continue to increase his mass lead and give him all sorts of extra options. I'd get them down here and get them setting up a big old base. Make sure we seal this off completely and give him nowhere to go. Although the biggest concern for them, undoubtedly at this point, whether they've scouted it or not, will be this Colossus, which has just gone into the green. Gingerbread Man will have to choose who to throw it at. I'm guessing he'll probably go south. Tidy up this mess down here, this very ominous looking group of units, which you would be very worried about if that was Gingerbread Man. Although, look at the huge quantities of T3 he's got here. It's a lot of Harbingers. When you've got that many, you can start to sort of disregard a lot of this. The Percivals will give you trouble, but the Tech 2 at that level starts to become less of a threat. But there's the Colossus. It's complete. It's under its own power. And where is it heading? Looks like it might be heading up towards Erica. Erica, who's been setting up shop down here. She got control of the bottom left-hand corner. Has got some spam factories up in that little raised section over here, and has set up some T1 railguns defending the skies in what was Gingerbread Man's forward base. But all the time, the number of bricks over here increasing. Look at them trundling in their highly inelegant manner to add to the wall. They look like they're listening to 90s hip-hop, don't they? Just need a Gatto Blaster. Not Gatto Blaster, Ghetto Blaster. You could have a Gatto Blaster. Nice bit of Black Forest Gatto. Could do with some of that. GC on its way, chasing down Erica's spam. Has it been scouted? Well, it certainly has now, just as she flies overhead with a spy plane. Well aware of the threat, which is why she's yielded quite so much territory. And that is absolutely huge. Making Mavor 28 minutes into a 2v2. Are you mad? Quite plainly she is. Obviously has a thing for large phallic symbols. That is never going to get finished. I'm staking my bet right here, right now. That will not get completed. And could potentially drain Erica of vital resources. She'd be much better off trying to produce a Fat Boy, or indeed just pumping it into Percival production and going all out Percival to counter this immediate threat on the ground. ASFs from Raider, meanwhile, enable stealth and go after the huge quantity of planes on the ground, but they're all T1 bombers over here. And there's quite a few ASFs covering the area from Gingerbread Man, and Raider has just thrown away his air force, essentially, at a time when Gingerbread Man is building a Tsar. Oh, dear. Gingerbread Man's made it all the way to the front of Erica's base. Going to take the opportunity to kill a T3 mechs, maybe. Picking off the Percivals at range, first of all. There are a lot of Percivals in here. Erica, though, being very, very ballsy indeed, uncharacteristically. Look at that. Standing out front. Yes, it's a shielded comm. Yes, it's got gun. But still, that could disappear in a heartbeat. She wants to get in here, I guess, and try and overcharge this to help take it down, but it's a little bit risky. Playing it fast and loose. Already lost half of that shield, more than half, down to about a third of its power now at 8,000 HP. What's happening at the main base? Bricks assaulting it. We're going to have to go to split screen to keep an eye on these two theaters. All of the spam, pretty much, from Gingerbread Man's ground force has gone. It's just the GC, but the GC is going to turn and lock onto Erica. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. The spam tries to defend, but it's not going to work. There's too many HP on that Colossus. It gets blocked temporarily by a shield, but then reacquires, and Erica disappears from the game. At almost on the nose of 30 minutes and 30 seconds. There are lots of bricks in the base for Raider, but huge quantities of T1 bombers are slowly dealing with that problem. There are more bricks funneling in all the time, but the main body of this force has been destroyed. We have got some more coming in across the pond as well. We can go back to single screen now. The Colossus was dealt with. It's just a shame for Team 1 that it cost Erica her life. But we have a new problem for them to worry about now, as the Tsar has been completed. Now, has Raider replenished his air force in time? Our survey says at 14 ASFs, no, he has not. 14 ASFs versus the Tsar and some 36 ASFs for Gingerbread Man. Gingerbread Man running screen now for that Tsar, hoping he's going to clear out some more ASFs as he goes. He's going to use that Tsar as base defense. There goes the massive super weapon. Bricks underneath it. Perish in no time at all. This has been wonderful, wonderful masterclass in how to hang on from Gingerbread Man. Just finished the Mavor for the lulls. Well, it's got a long way to go. And there you can see the engineers sensibly retasked, I think it's fair to say, onto a Fat Boy. And we have a crab as well moving out from Raider. Gunships helping to defend against this unending T3 onslaught from Raider. Tsar doing its best to keep up with the brick spam that's trundling in. And we already have a second GC on the field, a third one on the way. He's not doing too badly, you know, considering he's at half the eco that Raider's now on. 457 versus 1.1k. That is pretty enormous. Now, what have we got here? Tsar going in on the attack. Let's go back to split screen. Bricks still pushing their way into the main base, and there's a crab on the way as well, which I'm guessing probably hasn't been picked up yet on the scanners by Gingerbread Man. Probably would have sent the Tsar in to deal with that if he noticed it. I'm sure it'll return home once he does. Takes the opportunity to pick up a T3 mechs over in the west. Meanwhile, back at the main base for Gingerbread Man, Colossus taking care of business. Would you look at that, along with these gunships as well, these Spectres, which has been performing a vital role, vital task. And now he'll be well aware of the crab. Now, does the Tsar remain on offense? Or does it return to engage? The gunships certainly engage, and he has got the Colossus. I don't think he's got anything to worry about. And tons of T1 bombers, so the Tsar can just stay out there. Let's move that map so we can actually see what it's doing. And it's just clearing up everything in the backfield, all of these mass points and what have you. Raider now down below 1,000. He briefly touched 1.2k a minute ago. And that megalith just getting vaporized. Not Jonathan Ross, vaporized. I wanted to say vaporwed, but that's not a thing. It all went horribly wrong in there somewhere. Down the megalith goes, and not in a good way. Gunships switch target onto the bricks. And would you look at what is happening here? Stunning pushback. That Tsar was the perfect choice at the perfect time. Once he grabbed air control, or air dominance at the very least. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities to use the word air control in this situation. A couple of Percys making it into the main base though. Engineers have thrown down a bank of T1 point defense that should deal with that. Gingerbread Man in the bottom pond with his comm. How's that Tsar doing? Where is he? Still loitering over in the west. Bombers, gunships still going after this pretty vulnerable looking spam over here, but Raider turns up with the ASFs. He's been stockpiling. Try and clear out some of these gunships and these bombers. Tsar still doing its thing. Look at that long trail of destruction it leaves under its huge saucer. Interestingly, he hasn't gone for an assault on the main base. We do have a lot of SAMs in here, so that's why. Wouldn't last very long against that. Let's go back to single screen now. The attack has relented on the main base of Gingerbread Man. And now Gingerbread Man firmly going on the offensive. There was this little base over here that looked like, I said it was going to be a T1 spam center, but actually he teched up all of these factories to T3 and was using them to pump out Percivals, and it was probably the station that he launched that little attack where the Percivals would have come across the water here and hit his main base from the west. But now he's gone after it with a bunch of T1 bombers. Those bombers ultimately get shot down thanks to flak on the ground. But the Harbingers turning up and the odd Otham should be enough to take this little infestation out. More ranged problems though brewing in the north. Raider directing a Fat Boy and a Megalith back over to his favorite attack position. But look how much closer the eco scores are now than just a moment ago. Gingerbread Man was more than double, or rather I should say Raider was more than double the mass output of Gingerbread Man. And you don't often see a turnaround like that. That's very, very impressive stuff. We've now got 3 GCs roaming about the southern portion of the map over here. Another Tsar under construction. That's almost complete. I tell you what, if Gingerbread Man can stay on top of air control and carry on using these Tsars effectively, Raider's going to have a really tough time here. We've got no T3 anti-air in the mix down here to help shoot down any Tsars. That second Tsar is complete. He can just send both of those Tsars to wipe all of this out. We've got one, by the looks of things. One T3 unit, a bouncer there for ground-to-air capabilities. But we are starting to see some ASF stockpiling now. We're up to 40 ASFs for Raider. And we're on 28 for Gingerbread Man. So if and when he sends those Tsars in, he could be in for a bit of a rude awakening. He might lose one very quickly indeed, but if he can kill off enough of the air superiority fighters, he might retain the second. Gunships move in on the encroaching Fat Boy. The Tsars move in as well. In come the ASFs from Raider, and it seems like Gingerbread Man caught by surprise there. His own ASFs well out of position. That first Tsar is down. The second one shielded about 40% health. But the number of ASFs for Raider are dwindling. He's sending out more all the time, but in small numbers. And another Tsar is completed. This assault, though, on the ground from Raider, well underway. First leading Tsar goes straight after the Fat Boy. That won't last long. That's definitely the right decision. And then moves on towards the Megalith. Megalith will last a lot longer. Power grid over here, unshielded as the Megalith opens up on them. And chain reaction. 2 more badly damaged P-plants over here. Down they go, and that's the whole power grid for Gingerbread Man, essentially wiped out. If only he was able to use those Tsars earlier, he might have been able to wipe this entire force out. But as it stands, yes, the experimentals are pretty much dealt with. The crab over here on just 5,000 hit points, but there's so many bricks in the main base now just tearing up everything. Meanwhile, what's going on at the main base over here? The Colossus has just walked into the remnants of Erica's old base. We're going to have to go to split screen to keep an eye on this. That attack that came through from the south, marching straight into the main base. Support commanders opening up on the central Colossus. Back in the main base of Gingerbread Man. Lots of bricks still on the field. He still hasn't finished off that megalith, which thanks to veterancy is back up to 10,000 hit points. They retarget. Finally it goes down, but the whole base is essentially gone now for Gingerbread Man. Means he's left pretty much with what he's got on the field. That seems to be at the current moment a handful of Harbingers here and there. One Colossus as the last but one goes down, and the two Tsars back over here at the main base still battling to save what he can. 4 bricks of Raider remain in the main base for Gingerbread Man, and that is a pretty great outcome. Down goes the Colossus. The Colossus wasn't able to finish off the T3 land HQ, but has picked off a bunch of T2 reactors back there. What's Raider's situation like on power? He's got plenty to spare, so he's not worried about that. Let's go back to single screen now, as all of the fun and games is essentially finished down here, with the exception of 2 Percivals and a brick. They are dwindling. We've got this one group of mexes over here still operational, but Gingerbread Man producing nothing on power, minus 1,200 net, and he's not even got anything producing anything. He's got no factories that are producing that drain on power. That is just pretty much his eco consuming that power, his mass production. But what have we got over here? Raider in the water. Does Gingerbread Man know that he's located there? In come the ASFs to engage. Does he get a read on where the commander is? Does he expect he's down there? Well, they seem to be hovering. Raider has stealth by the looks of things, so I guess he's okay. He's not taking damage. Oh, he could get ground fired though. How deep is that thing? He looks like he might be taking torpedo damage now. He has gotten a read on Raider's position right by the Epic as it shows up. But one of the Tsars has been shot down. It's landed on top of him. He's down to 200 hit points. Another salvo or 2 of torpedoes, and Gingerbread Man's gonna win it. What? What just happened? Raider cannot believe it. He cannot believe it. I can't believe it. What on earth? 42 minutes of madness. Somehow Team 2 pulls out the win. Gingerbread Man with the donuts of doom. They were definitely dropping torpedoes on him. I don't really know how they managed to target him. Unless his stealth went offline, maybe? Was he having power problems? That's potentially what was going on. Support commanders producing myrmidons on the beach, maybe. I'm hypothesizing here, guys. By all means, check out the video description, get the replay link, and go check it out for yourselves and let us know in the comments, because I'd be fascinated to know. But the Myrmidons, potentially, maybe, or indeed any other number of things, might have produced a big enough power drain that the stealth offlined on his commander, which enabled them to spot him. And then, of course, the Myrmidons shot down one of the Tsars, which landed on him, and then the torpedoes did all the rest of the work. Unbelievable. Just ridiculous. Hope you enjoyed it, guys. As always, more to come from me in the future. Don't forget, Patreon is a massive boon to me. If you like the content and you want to support the channel, why not get yourself some extra content? We've got 40 casts or thereabouts on there already. More being added all the time, and it's merely $1 a week, guys. What's stopping you? Think what you spend $1 on. It's a meaningless sum of money, but if we get enough of you doing it, it means the world to me. Anyway, that's enough of that. Until next time, stay well and stay safe. This is Guile, signing out.